Highlighting that troops have disengaged at 4 places in Eastern Ladakh, including Galwan Valley, the Chinese Foreign Ministry today said India and China have agreed during their meeting in Russia to work together to create conditions for the improvement of bilateral relations. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang held talks on the sidelines of a meeting of the BRICS high-ranking officials responsible for security matters in St. Petersburg in Russia on Thursday, where they discussed the progress made in the recent consultations on border issues. That's what the Chinese Foreign Ministry said in a press release today. Asked whether the two countries were close to a breakthrough to revive their bilateral ties that have been frozen for over 4 years due to the military standoff in Eastern Ladakh, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said the two militaries realized disengagement in 4 areas and the situation along the border is stable. Mao said, and I quote, "In recent years, frontline armies of the two countries have realized disengagement in 4 areas in the western sector of the China-India border, including the Galwan Valley. The China-India border situation is generally stable and under control." These comments from the Chinese side come a day after India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said in Geneva that roughly 75% of the disengagement problems with China had been sorted out, but the bigger issue has been the increasing militarization of the frontier. Now, Doval and Wang are the special representatives for the India-China border talks mechanism, and elaborating further about this meeting, the Chinese Foreign Ministry press release says both parties expressed the belief that the stability of China-India ties is in the fundamental and long-term interests of the two peoples and conducive to regional peace and development. China and India agreed to implement the consensus reached by the heads of the two countries, enhance mutual understanding and trust, maintain continuous communication and create conditions for boosting bilateral ties. Wang, also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee, stressed that facing a turbulent world, China and India, as two ancient Eastern civilizations and emerging developing countries, should adhere to independence, choose unity and cooperation and avoid consuming each other. This according to state-run Xinhua news agency. Wang Yi expressed the hope that the two sides will properly handle their differences in a pragmatic approach and find the right way to get along with each other and push the China-India relations back on track for healthy, stable and sustainable development. Now, a press release on the talks issued by India's Ministry of External Affairs said India and China on Thursday agreed to work with urgency and redouble their efforts to achieve complete disengagement in the remaining friction points in Eastern Ladakh. In the meeting, Doval conveyed to Wang that peace and tranquility in the border areas and respect for the line of actual control are essential for the return of normalcy in bilateral ties. The Doval-Wang meeting came 2 weeks after India and China held diplomatic talks, during which they agreed to intensify their contacts through diplomatic and military channels to find a resolution to the outstanding issues. The Indian and Chinese militaries have been locked in a standoff since May 2020, and a full resolution of the border row has not been achieved yet, though the two sides have disengaged from a number of friction points. The ties between the two countries nosedived following the fierce clashes in the Galwan Valley in June 2020 that marked the most serious military conflict between the two sides in decades. India maintains that its ties with China cannot be normal unless there is peace in the border areas.
So we've been negotiating now for close to 4 years. And the first step of that is what we call disengagement, which is that their troops go back to their normal operating bases and our troops go back to our normal operating bases. And where required, we have an arrangement about patrolling, because both of us patrol regularly in that border, because, as I said, it's not a legally delineated border. Those negotiations are going on. We made some progress. I would say roughly, you can say about 75% of the disengagement problems are sorted out. We still have some things to do, but there's a bigger issue that, if both of us have brought forces close up, and in that sense, there's the level of militarization of the border has increased. How does one deal with it? I think we have to deal with it. But in the meanwhile, after the clash, it has affected actually the entirety of the relationship, because you can't have violence on the border and then say the rest of the relationship is insulated from it. So trade has got affected, and the exchanges have got affected. So it is not normal, I mean, to put it very politely. We hope that if there is a solution to the disengagement and there is a return to peace and tranquility, then we can look at other possibilities. So that is the immediate issue. But I think there are larger issues in respect of India-China. We have long struggled with the trade issue. I've been ambassador in China, so I can tell you from my time there that we are talking 15 years ago, that we feel that the economic relationship with China has been very unfair. It has been very imbalanced, that we don't have the market access there. They have much better market access in India. We have concerns today. Again, this is autonomous of the border situation in various areas, technology, in telecom, in digital, and those are issues. And now, as you've said, we also do monitor very carefully what happens in the Indian Ocean.